Overview. Regarding his lack of friends, a man who was Stoic compared friendship to a diamond is elusive and valuable, he stated. Friendships are uncommon, precious, and frequently encircled by copies after a few mistakes in judgment that you start to think because friendships in general are only illusions, simply fakes expanding on this idea in another way. True friends, as perceived by the individual, are treasures that should be treasured, but they hope we make a lifelong buddy who we can genuinely be held in such high regard. However, when you find yourself, what does it mean? Frequently by themselves, navigating a world that appears to be overflowing with connections. A lack of friends could be a sign of deeper anything that is innate to your identity. We'll explore this tricky topic today. Examining the complex realm of the presence or absence of friendships will examine the intricacies of contemporary, the impact of social dynamics. Our connections recall not having a "many buddies don't represent you" worth occasionally involves figuring out that, as we dive, one genuine gem will remain with us, into comprehending why certain people find it difficult to discover these links and investigate the root causes, and most all, reveal practical Stoic measures to create genuine introversion or shyness. Lass friendships like the chisels of a sculptor away at stone to unveil a work of art. You have the power to mold your social environments, establishing deep connections that last throughout time, so stay concentrated and let's start this adventure. Together from a Stoic perspective, with hearts and minds open and prepared to learn, develop, and link introversion and shyness. Despite the fact that humans are social beings by nature, the maze of social connections for many feels like there are missing pieces in a puzzle. Introversion or shyness is frequently viewed as a challenge on this trip, but let's reverse. The script envisions observing these characteristics, not as obstacles but as a distinct advantage. Views of the world from the center of the art of Stoic wisdom is converting perceived shortcomings into advantages. The first step is to accept who you are. Recall the whispering Marcus Aurelius. As time passes, accept the things that you are bound by fate, and your introversion isn't a flaw, it's about a silent power. Understanding that your path is unique, not less, when you embrace who you are. Escape the constraints of what-ifs, and this self-acceptance is what bees should be doing. Your shield in the busy realm of social engagement, making your silence unbreakable assurance. Let's now discuss the you're at a gathering right now. Experiencing the well-known pull of shyness. Here is where Stoicism is evident. You concentrate on the things that you can manage. Your words and deeds give you control. 2. Problems with trust. Your generosity, not in other people's eyes or the result of your speech. Do it to convey this change rather than to impress. Focus shifts. From fear of criticism to your words' genuineness makes the burden that reduces the amount of time spent talking, more of a playground than a battleground for real relationships. Moreover, recognize that friendship is a garden to cultivate rather than a prize to win. Nurture in pursuing relationships. Disconnect oneself from the requirement for quick outcomes, such as Seneca, who viewed life as a consider every encounter as a step in the path on your journey, not as a measure of your value. By focusing on being who you really are, you create room for relationships by being yourself. That speak to your actual self. Recall that in the Stoic perspective, each individual, you have the opportunity to grow, learn and reflect, rather than merely add another friend. To your list from the perspective of introversion, shyness and Stoicism, change from being shadows to sources of strength isn't about conquering these obstacles, characteristics, but about comprehending and using them to traverse the intricate realm of people to relationships based on trust difficulties. Negotiating the maze of trust difficulties in friendships are common. Big, it's similar to walking on a narrow RPP. Keeping your personal ideals in line with the unpredictable nature of other people's trust is not distributed as complimentary samples at a store it as you earn it, piece by piece. Simply being aware of what makes you. To be explicit, tick the things that frighten you. Being yourself is similar to having a compass in. The relationship wildness is regarding understanding when to open the door to someone and when it should be closed. Recall how a tree doesn't waver since it knows, like the tree, its roots are aware of your self-knowledge is the foundation of your ideals. 3. Insufficient social opportunities is your mooring in the shifting waves of interpersonal relationships. Acknowledge that seasons vary, so someone might appear reliable today and reverse. This is not a call to build for tomorrow. Barriers surrounding your heart instead of recognize that the only thing that is consistent is alter. Maintain your emotional equilibrium. If when trust is lost, it's not the end of the globe is a chance to gain knowledge and become more powerful. This does not imply that you become aloof and frigid, instead of about being practical. Comprehension that perfection is a myth, particularly when it comes to human conduct. Be similar to water changing its flow, yet always be honest and loyal to who you are. Your best tool is communication. If doubts start to surface, discuss them. Similar to turning on a light in a pitch-black room, things suddenly become evident, so don't be shy. Away from these discussions, serve as the links that can result in more profound and significant relationships. A discussion can transform a miscommunication into a moment of clarity. But keep in mind that it's a two-way listen to the street. As much as you say, this harmony between speaking and listening produces a dance of words with a beat and comprehension that fortifies the friendships. In the end, it's about creating a social network where trust is the cornerstone, not an after considering 3 social chances to navigate via the labyrinth of contemporary life. One may trip based on a silent reality that it's not necessarily about not having pals, meeting people, but not always interacting with the environment we live in. Notifications buzz on phones, but our hearts long for the actual thing. Connection's image of this volunteer work in helping others isn't the only thing your community does. Others see it as a means of connecting with souls. 4th, insufficient social skills who share your interests and concerns. When planting trees, for example, or arranging the books in a nearby library, every work that is done together is a thread weave. These acts weave you into the social fabric. Exhibit a specific virtue that adds to the larger benefit, and in doing so, you discover friends on the same journey. But let's remember the influence of collective knowledge and passions. Picture walking into a room where the language of seminars for your career or hobby and lectures pertaining to your hobbies are not just used to add lines to your resume. They're a good place to friendships in these settings. Talks flow naturally as there are people all around you who recognize the subtleties of your work or passion. It's similar to discovering your tribe, where one can improve professionally and personally. Remember that connections go hand in hand. To accept the natural world as your hiking and other social canvas activities. Group yoga or cycling aren't only for bodily well-being, they act as stimulants for bringing people together in the embrace of nature. Talks blossom like wildflowers. These actions remove the customs in ordinary social situations, permitting sincere relationships to develop and practice when you're outside. Thankfulness for your surroundings and for those with whom these moments are shared. It's not about possessing a lot of friends. It's important to value the relationships that give your life more color. This strategy is based on simplicity, and sincerity transforms the quest for connections into a rewarding lack of social skills in Journey 4. Friendships are not created on their own. They need work and the appropriate strategy, something that is frequently forgotten in our hectic lack of social skills in daily life can be a 5. Changing conditions, substantial obstacle to the formation of deep friendships. Keep in mind how Aelius Marcus gently exhorted us to love. Those who are brought into our lives by fate are an encouragement to embrace social possibilities, no matter how little. Start with manageable actions. Create or engage in a coffee shop conversation by joining a local group or participate in online groups with similar interests, such as little exchanges, are what make a building blocks of self-assurance in social situations, like a plant that requires sunlight and water. Social skills require development, and patience to develop a crucial element in listening is a key component of social skill development. With purpose and compassion in a society where everyone wants to be the one who is heard. Asking questions makes you stand out to those who listen, not only to react, but also to comprehend and delve into the tales of individuals who are genuinely interested in this change, centered on how you're regarded to, having a deeper awareness of others' connections. Impressing is not the goal, others using your stories or wit, but about establishing an environment where people feel appreciated and heard, as well as embrace the fluctuations in social relationships calmly and stoically. Not every effort at talk will result in a lifetime of friendship, and it's acceptable for both relationship if it develops into a fizzles out or friendship is a step. As you proceed on your social journey, the 6. Changing priorities or expanding rejection doesn't represent your value, but a normal aspect of human engagement. With every encounter, you're enhancing your social abilities, in addition to learning to handle the complicated fabric of human connections with resilience and grace. Never forget your value. Has nothing to do with how many friends you possess, but the caliber of the relationships you cultivate. 5. Shifting situations. Occasionally, the absence of our pals can retell the story. The tale of the boy and the apple tree reflects the way our priorities change as we getting older and losing relationships that was previously quite important to us as kids. Our friendships are similar to the playing with the tree in a pure and free, yet as we develop like the boy, our attention turns to what we believe to be essentials of a home's financial situation. In this pursuit, we might inadvertently disregard the friendships that were once, like the apple tree, it protected us. Shading this change in priorities is not uncommon. It's a natural aspect of growing up, changing but frequently in pursuit of what we believe we must, we neglect what we. The boy has already gone back to the tree only in times of necessity, not recognizing the persistent lack of complaint. It provided a comparable level of friendship in our strive for stability and success. We may fail to see our buddies, who are our silent supporters, lead to a vacuum, perhaps full of achievements, yet absence of genuine meaningful relationships. Restoring or fostering friendships demands deliberate effort. Similar to garden maintenance isn't about big gestures, but regular little actions of standing and being compassionate. Begin with reaching out and striking up discussions. Being present, not only in joyful situations, as well as during times of necessity. Keep in mind that friendships grow like trees. Deep roots gradually, not all at once. We learn from the story of the kid and the tree that friendship requires reciprocity. Both parties' concern and attentiveness. Don't be the youngster who just remembers the tree. When you're in need, be the one to nurture and cherish these connections. Often 6. Changing priorities, or 7. Mental health development in our dynamic existence, where we balance our personal lives, education, and careers. Expansion and the frequent reordering of priorities serves as a quiet designer in the establishing or losing friendships. Stoicism is a philosophy that is still applicable today. as taught in antiquity, instructs us to accept the dynamic nature of life and imagine your life is like a river that never stops flowing and altering your path while navigating through the professional advancement rapids or the calm waters of your family's existence. Naturally, there is time for social connections. This isn't a failure on ES and flows. Your part, it's just the fact that are the full benefits of Stoicism in life, useful advice for various periods of shift, when your days are busy with family, meetings or deadlines obligations, yet it's tempting to try and keep up a large social network. Nevertheless, Stoicism suggests quality over quantity. It's preferable to have some in-depth, deeper ties than many shallow ones. This strategy isn't about excluding others, but instead about concentrating your efforts where the most important thing when doing so is your honor. In addition to your time, the time of others, cultivating connections that are sincere and satisfying, adjusting to adapting stoically to the shifting concerns of life, does not imply submitting to a life with fewer pals, rather than about comprehending and embracing the natural progression of some relationships. While some friends may drift away, others will remain or even enter your life. Specifically as a result of your new priorities, wisdomfully embrace this adventure. And bravery, keep in mind everyone you either for a season or a lifetime. Life lends special worth to your, have the fabric of life in your eighth. Lifestyle decisions, relationships, and allow Stoicism to lead the way. In order to establish friendships that are not just significant, but also speak to the you're turning into a 7 mental person. Well-being, our mental health, frequently in the rush of daily life, frequently overlooked, is an architectural cornerstone that is quiet. Regarding friendships, Stoicism is not a theory that only of marble from antiquity, but also contemporary resilience clarifies this. But it's not about tense upper lips. Yet regarding being aware of our mental terrain, when anxiety clouds our inner world or depression casts a shadow, making it seem as though to make your way through a murky social maze. We learn from the Stoics to fire a torch, rather than not totally eliminate the darkness, but to perceive a way through it. As George Carlin noted, what was below the surface of a pessimistic outlook is a lethargic. This isn't about wearing idealistic rose-colored spectacles, but acknowledging that our mental struggles can unintentionally construct walls rather than bridges between us and our possible friends right now. Practically speaking, Stoicism isn't about, Marcus Aurelius once said, while drinking a first, it's about taking concrete action. No, mindfulness isn't a fancy word. It's important to be present when daydreaming. In a society where our focus is the most sought-after product is completely present in talking, is similar to delivering a rare present. It demonstrates your concern. And that's meditation and friendship currency is for everyone, not only monks. Balancing the responsibilities of life with the advantages of spend 10 minutes each day going beyond your brain, it lets people know that you appreciate calmness and clarity as a result. The pursuit of tranquility may seem like a luxury in our round-the-clock society, but it's the foundation of enduring connections. Going to a beach is not the way to find tranquility. Most of the time, it's finding calm in the midst of chaos. It's about having an anchor in case life storms occur, and they won't take you away, friends. Are not limited to sunny days, provides refuge against storms by pursuing inner calm down. You're someone people want to. We learn from Stoicism that this one can achieve inner tranquility via self-analysis, and constancy are about being aware of our feelings. 9. Disparities in interest. Recognizing them and preventing them control our behavior, but that doesn't mean being impersonal. Instead, it's about having authority over our responses to our feelings and once you get the hang of it, you become a ray of stability in an often people are inherently unpredictable in this environment. Attracted to people who radiate serenity and comprehension, by developing your inner tranquility, you unintentionally produce a friendly environment for friendships to flourish. Keep in mind, in the quest for mental health, you're not only fostering your intellect, while also stitching the seeds for more profound and significant ties, 8 way-of-life decisions that life's fast pace frequently results in, an isolated journey where friendships wane. This is your background image, ticking off tasks and chasing deadlines lists, but at the end of the day, the chair across from remains from you at the dinner table. Empty. Being busy isn't enough. It all depends on your priorities. Stoicism encourages us to carefully consider our options. What are you doing with your hours? Genuinely matters. Considering this can be share, the game is about figuring out having the guts to refuse time thieves that don't fulfill your underlying demand for connection. Take a look at this strategy now. Sculpt your day as a sculptor would. Every decision is a chisel in a masterpiece. Stroke. Making time for both obligations and connections. It's not about extending your day to accommodate more into, but more about molding it. If you're smart, you may have less time for interacting, but the caliber of these moments might soar by making the appropriate individuals that share your values. Each exchange gets more significant. It's not simply about depth. Remember the width of your social world. The skill of equilibrium, which is Stoic, is not merely regarding allocating your time fairly, but putting it in line with what gives life. Imagine living a truly fulfilling life, as a mosaic, where each component stands for one part of your life, is your job. Hobbies. Both friendships and rest have their place. It is your responsibility to place these tiles, such make a pattern that is harmonic. It's a balancing act that necessitates ongoing modification and consideration, but when you get, it's the perfect snapshot of your life, becomes profoundly beautiful as well as fulfilling. 9 variations in varied hobbies can resemble several musical notes, each distinct but incorporated into a broader melody. When interests collision, it's not merely a hazy message, it's a possible symphony of connections remaining. Let's say you enjoy rock music, but your coworker is a huge fan of classical music. Yes, there is a gap, but there's also a stoicism, as a bridge waiting to be crossed encourages us to value these distinctions. As stepping stones rather than as obstacles, it whispers, discovers the wider horizons. Discord harmony. When we only concentrate on our interests, we run the danger of creating a bubble that restricts how we perceive the world and our friendship circle by opening our arms to the variety of interests surrounding. We're not merely learning new pastimes that are opening doors to new connections and viewpoints. There's a claiming that diversity adds flavor to life. This curiosity is fostered by Stoicism, reminding us that each individual we encounter contains a universe of thoughts and experiences, and interests, assuming you're a diehard. Your neighbor is a gamer who enjoys, rather than strolling and nodding, gardening. Ask them about their favorite plant show right away. Curiosity about their reality isn't about acting, as though you enjoy gardening is about acknowledging their enthusiasm and, consequently, enabling them to see and value. Do not forget this. This reciprocal curiosity of yours is a strong glue that binds individuals together with. It's about many hobbies, realizing that underlying these pastimes, the interests that we have in common, enthusiasm, commitment, delight, and stoicism, acts as a compass, directing us to look for a shared set of principles and human feelings, as opposed to merely typical interests. Envision a scenario in which not all friendships are founded on likes. Similar things, but with a better knowledge and appreciating one another's uniqueness. There is a universe where a sports fan, yet a reader, can discover similarities in their tenacity and affection for gaining knowledge in this friendship dance. We learn to lead with an open mind from Stoicism, heart and a receptive mind, generating relationships that go beyond what we can only do, what we can, and who we are. Gather together and recall the abundance of we don't gauge our friendships by how we are similar, yet the way we embrace and develop from our Stoicism isn't about concealing differences, your emotions. It's about comprehending and encouraging them to be receptive to looking for the friendships that you find meaningful. Heart, if you felt that our topic, please give us a thumbs up. Increase the number of persons looking for old wisdom. Sign up if you're new here. And for more, press the notification bell. Lessons on ancient knowledge that we are excited to listen to you and share it with us. In the remarks about your experience navigating the waters of friendship, regardless of your introversion, who finds solace in intimate relationships, is an outgoing person who flourishes in the vitality of a varied business. Your experiences are an important component of this. When the community is at a loss for words, you can just let us know if you're an thank you, extrovert, introvert, or ambivert. Thank you so much for viewing, and I hope to see you in our upcoming video. In the interim, select a video from the screen in order to keep losing oneself in Stoic wisdom, remains Stoic and maintains cultivating those important relationships.